Welcome, everybody, once again here, another episode with El Uno, and my name is Ben. Welcome if you're a first time listener or viewer. So today we're going to cover different three topics that I researched from Market Business Insider and the Wall Street Journal. So what's going on around? The Olympics have started, and they have started in controversy, as we can see. So the Olympics, the presentation of the Olympics, the show. So something controversial happened. However, it's controversial for Catholics, Christians in that case, and the Paris Olympics organizers apologized for opening ceremony's Last Supper scene. So what happened is that they just displayed this table here with a lineup of people that represent the LGBTQ plus community. And so you had trans models and a DJ, overweight, so drag queens and mostly naked figure covered in blue paint. So if you have kids and you say, well, let's watch the Olympic ceremony, the opening ceremony, and they show all of that, it's like, oh my God, that's crazy. So the Olympics is supposed to resemble, to me, the spirit of diversity, but really diversity, we can say, when I say diversity, I know it comes as a talking point from the LGBT community, but it is to a certain extent. But the Olympics were meant to celebrate sport across the world, like having sport going beyond national borders, where each athlete will come from all over the world and represent the best of the best in that discipline, in that case. So no matter where you come from, if you're capable, if you're a good athlete, you just come together. We celebrate the exceptionalism of these athletes that for years and years they train to win a gold medal that represent the apex of an athletic career and an accomplishment that will go down in history. But it's supposed to be inspiring, okay? And to me, having that display, most people have felt like it was mocking Christians. And if you want to look deeper, it kind of is, because they don't do that kind of stuff to other religious groups. Because if you do such a thing to Muslims, for example, they just go wild. See what happened with the Charlie Hebdo years ago, where the newspaper made it's. I don't know if it's forbidden to make a representation of the prophet of the Muslims, Muhammad, but Charlie Hebdo did show a satirical picture of the prophet, and there was an attack, a terrorist attack on the newspaper with people losing their lives and everything. Now, other than having the uproar of people, you don't have really nothing, because they would just sweep it off and say, hey, we're just doing this to Christians. It doesn't matter. It's okay to make fun of Christians, But I don't think so. I mean, you should be if you want to be really inclusive, you could do whatever you want. However, yes, if we need to cater to the sensibilities of the LGBTQ community, is this the people that are inclusive, and they should cater to the sensibilities of some other group. But if you want to cater to the sensibilities of one group or another, realistically, it's like you're walking on eggshells the whole time. But there is a limit, I suppose. Whatever, freedom of speech for us, in other places it doesn't exist. So I think it's a controversial point to make. So the organizers of the Paris Olympics issued a brief apology on Sunday after coming under heavy criticism from religious groups and conservative politicians for including a bawdy scene in Friday's night's opening ceremony that resembled Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of France has decried it as a mockery. Well, especially because, to a certain extent, still France is regarded as a Christian country, let alone that they have an overwhelmingly Muslim community as well. There was never an intention to show disrespect to a religious group, a Paris 2024 spokeswoman said. If people have taken any offense, we are, of course, really sorry. Well, this doesn't look like really a great apology, but it was crazy. So if I read here some comments, they say, like, with few exceptions, the entire ceremony was a display of lunacy. The bearded character with the flame going everywhere. What was that? Marie Antoinette's head singing great taste? And the NBC personnel manning Snoop Dogg Clarkson should have been benched. Parade athletes who have to perform the next day on a slow boat moving down a river? Really? The only decent past was the few soloists singing. The French government owes Christians around the world an apology. It happened under their watch and it's disgraceful. You see the uproar from person to person goes over. But my thing is, okay, so the LGBTQ plus community is a minority, okay? It represents less than 10% of a population in our country, at least here in the United States. So why are we catering to why you're doing something for the minority? You're excluding the rest, okay? So I want to say you can have some, maybe, but it doesn't have to be all about them, because this really feels like somebody shoveling something down your throat at that point. Like, you gotta watch this, so this is it. So how do they feel if they had somebody, if they have strippers, this is a good analogy to think of. Would it be appropriate? Same thing as having a drug story hour. What if a stripper reads a story? So my thing is, everybody's quick to jump on and denounce and criticize Christianity for the historical past of Christianity, but everybody doesn't understand that we live in a society that has been molded and shaped and created by Judeo-Christian values, okay? The respect for women, the resolved slavery, they came because of Christians as well. Even you can look, if you want to find bad things about Christianity, you can find as much as you want. The priests raping the kids in the orphanages and all of that. But there's also many other good things. So you can look and find the good, or you can look and find the bad. As a Christian, I choose to look at the good. But you say, yeah, it's too easy for you to do that. But I don't think so. I choose to look at the good. I choose to look at the good values. I choose to look at the teachings of Jesus Christ. I go to look at a strong community of people. Love thy neighbor. Caring about each other. Something to believe in. Okay? And doesn't look like to you the LGBTQ plus community is a religion to a certain extent. Because are we... is this idolatry in this case? Is it correct to say idolatry? I'm just curious now. Idolatry. Extreme admiration, love, or reference for something or someone. You see? So, idolatry of making a deity a figure. Are we making idolatry now? And what are we celebrating? Are we celebrating sexual debauchery? Are we celebrating sex acts in public? What are we celebrating compared to Christianity? Celebrating loving each other? Celebrating strong families? Celebrating strong moral values? What are we celebrating with the LGBTQ community? As much as I want to be really... You see this other word that comes around, this tolerance. So tolerance has had a bad rap recently. Why? Well, because by being tolerant, many other things, you let the wolf inside your flock by being tolerant. We want to be good. Isn't this the liberal version of things? We need to take care of everybody. Well, we cannot take care of everybody if you really look at it. However, we did because we're good. We're magnanimous, So, and that comes from Christianity, even if you don't like to think so. Go look at a religion, respect for women. It's not comparable to Christianity. Christianity is one of the few religions that really, at least in the modern sense, don't look at the past, regards women as equal. Do our other religions do so? And so, I don't know. Were they really sorry for that excuse? They really don't care. And if you have to be honest, there is also a picture of a person standing in that lineup on the table. There's many people showed that. Maybe it was a costume mishap, an accident, but there's a man standing, and you could see from his short shorts that his testicles are showing up. So, is wokeism the new religion of the decade? I think so, yeah. Symbology, look at it. The flag displayed all over the place. And why are you allowed to teach kids in school and display the flag and not maybe show a cross? Because, yeah, freedom of religion, we have it in this country, but it doesn't say anywhere that there is a separation of church and state in our constitution or anywhere here. So, I don't know. Are they trading one religion for another based on personal identity, based on this me showcase of sexual fantasies and everything? Is this what is important? Is this what we're going to teach the next generations? I don't think so. We should teach good values. We should teach to be honest, to be truthful. We should teach values of hard work, of competence, of loving each other. Not find the best ways to have sexual gratification. Everybody does their own if you're an adult, but this is not the thing we should be teaching children and kids. So it's a really sticky topic, and many people may be offended, but doesn't matter that I cannot state my opinion. As you're free to display your different sexual orientations here, and it's really crazy. It's really crazy. There is nothing wrong to state that, but apparently they found ways to bring it to the Olympics, and I'm really excited to follow the Olympics, the sports, but I do not like that kind of display. Or another topic that I want to talk about is I found this article here in Business Insider again now, and it talks about de-dollarization is a fad that will backfire on countries trying to move away from the greenback currency, experts say. So every time they say experts on these newspapers, I say, oh my God, these experts. We got to look at the experts, because whatever the experts say, it's the Bible, the experts. Oh my God. So de-dollarization is probably a fad, and countries trying to stage a global shift away from the dollar may soon find that the movement will backfire. That's according to Jeffrey Christian, a longtime commodities analyst and the founder of CPM Group, who thinks that the de-dollarization push in countries like Russia, China, and India could wind up backfiring and hurting the economies of those nations. I highly doubt it. But let's see what they say. So he says here, nothing but a buzzword. Isn't this kind of an article that is pandering to the power of the dollar? So Christian is among a group of de-dollarization skeptics on Wall Street who have brushed aside the trend as nothing more than a buzzword. De-dollarization is a myth, nonsensical, and a bad joke. De-dollarization is a fad, just because they say so, okay? So, they just list a series of, let me see how many, 2 points. They make 2 points. 3 points, I think. payment issues first. And they explain the reasons why the dollarization is a fade, and anyone that tries to move away from the US dollar, it's really, really bad for them. And that's why they should stick to it. Maybe this is a kind of advertisement to keep on sticking with the dollar. Let's see. First, the dollarizing nations run a higher risk and payment issues. So let me check this up here. He pointed to India, which insisted on purchasing Russian oil in rupees and dirhams, the UAE currency, last year. Traders said they caused at least 7 India-bound oil ships to turn back to Russia. Payment squabbles stem from the fact that other currencies are not nearly as liquid as the dollar, as the greenback is so widely used in global markets and held among central banks. The dollar was used in 88% of all daily currency transactions as of April 2022, according to the Bank of International Settlements, and it accounted for 54% of all foreign exchange reserves, International Monetary Fund data shows. In other countries, like China's yuan, they're bound by strict capital controls, which also make them less liquid, therefore less attractive than the dollar. Okay. It's also difficult to rapidly increase the liquidity of currency without sparking high inflation, he noted. So limited trade, countries that try to phase out of the dollar will be stifling their imports and exports. That's because the dollar is the world's most widely traded currency. And then Russia is such one example. The nation denounced the dollar after it was slapped with Western sanctions. But foregoing the greenback is only isolating the nation more from international markets. There's something to say about that. Lost value. Central banks risk making a bad investment by holding other currencies since the dollar is a superior store of value. I don't think so. But according to the US dollar index, which weights the greenback against a basket of foreign currency, the greenback has appreciated around 40% since its trough in 2011. Meantime, currencies like the yuan have depreciated against the dollar over the past decade. Okay, so let me see here. So payment issues. Okay, you have like very, very large companies that they have a global network for payments, and that is true. Limited trade. So countries that trade in other currencies have cut themselves out from other trade with the global commerce because everybody transacts in dollars. So if you remember the Putin interview with Tucker Carlson, what he said, what Putin said is that they used to trade in dollars in about 50% trades, and then they went down in the 15% after the war. So being in the club with the dollar, yes, it gives you major access for commerce and for growth to sell your products abroad and also buy at the same time. However, it can be also a curse because if you don't follow the line of the politics, the global politics of the United States, guess what? You're going to be cut out. And the dollar can be used as a weapon against your country because if you only trade in dollars, you have only one point of failure, the only point of failure in this case. And what are you going to do? If you lose that, if you disagree with them on some policy, in the UN, there are resolutions, you vote against what the current line of the American elites or political arena want, well, guess what? You're out. And Russia, at the beginning of the conflict in Ukraine, the ruble, I think, lost a lot of value at the beginning, but then their economy started to pick up because they were selling gas and oil to China. They were buying like crazy, and they transacted in gold and in Russian rubles. So they were able to actually keep up, and they nationalized all the brands that were inside Russia. So they became all Russian companies, like McDonald's became Russian, Foot Locker, they changed the name and became the same, and everything started working as usual. And then you have these countries that together, like China, India, Russia, they have a meeting together and they just try to they make agreements and transact in other currency because the world is changing. So there was this book about Ray Dalio, the second one that he did. I forget the name of it. Let me see if I can find it. So the latest book that he talked about, Principles. No, the first one was Principles. No, The Changing World Order. Yes. So he goes back historically and he examines all the countries that were at the top of their game throughout the centuries, and you could see that they go up and then they decline. For example, the British, the French, their currency was very, very high in high demand because they were at the top of their game. Like they had the England owned like most of the world basically throughout that time, and then they went down in a decline, and then the Dutch, because he had the spice trades and everything, and they owned colonies all over the place, then France, and then slowly you see the United States went up. And then what he showed is that the United States is still at the top, but is a declining power, while you see China actually getting up, and soon he's going to surpass the United States. Oh, you see one light turned off here. Well, hope you can still see me again, the same. So what happened is that the United States is going down. And also, if you look at our national debt, we have like a $34 trillion, and a huge percentage of the revenue from the taxes goes out to pay the interest on our national debt. So let me see what's the interest on the national debt here. 2024. So in 2024, the U.S. government is projected to pay $892 billion in interest on its debt, which is 36% increase from the previous year. This amount represents 3.1% of the country's GDP, which is higher than the 3.2% limit that has been in place since 1940. Interest payments on the debt are the second largest line item in the budget and are expected to remain so for the rest of 2024. So you see, if we owe this much, it's, I don't know. And then if you look, the value, the dollar lost a lot of value. So let me see how much value did the dollar lose. The fluctuating value of the US dollar. So the dollar enjoyed a modest boost against Europe's common currency and other foreign in the first half of 2024. So I saw like there was a 90% drop in throughout the years about the value, because there has been a change from gold into the dollar basically in the 70s, and there was a bad idea because you just can print yourself out of any problem. You just keep on printing money basically, and instead if you have gold reserves, you have a value by having gold being worth that much. So you have gold in your vault, and you have a physical asset that is gonna give you the value of how much dollars you can give away. But if you spend, if you print, you can print unlimited money, and you get yourself out of situations because you can just print money. And if you're a global currency, what happens? You think you can get away with it, but there's some bad effects. Is that inflation is going to kill you, and many countries don't want to be involved with it, and therefore they change. And that's I don't know if it's a trend that you will see, when you will see like many countries that will get away from the dollar just because of that reason, you know. But the American economy is very, very strong, so it's something that we can hope to see a better future, especially having a lower inflation, because especially on grocery costs that can be really, really high. So the last article I wanted to go through is do you have a new trend on TikTok that these Gen Zers by less, and they call this phenomena the underconsumption core. So what is the underconsumption core? So influencer marketing has become a staple of the social media era, and Gen Z is one of its most significant targets. For many Gen Zers, the generation between the ages of 12 and 27, TikTok is the primary social media platform where they find products to buy. But while the influencer marketing industry thrives, some younger online users have grown tired of the constant product promotion. This is where underconsumption core comes in. So this is similar to the influencing trend, another popular response to online shopping culture. De-influencing involves shedding light on calling into question popular products often promoted by creators online. According to the underconsumption core, creators who spoke with the New York Times, the idea behind the latest trend is to promote buying only what you need. Simply put, it's just regular shopping with a more Gen Z friendly title. Oh yeah, it's kind of like a fleshy thing, only Gen Z friendly title. And then Gen Z doesn't really trust influencers anymore, don't hold the same power as they once did among younger audiences. Gen Z millennial marketing research firm found that 45% of people between ages 13 and 22 don't believe that content creators have the same authority once did, and 53% say they would prefer to buy something recommended by a regular person. Some influencer marketing experts previously told that consumers may feel they are being duped by creators who want. Of course they're duped. So what do you think? You have especially because influencers are paid to promote a product. So if you can reach a large audience, you can see a podcast, for example, everybody, you have advertisers, they come in, and the idea I was reading some time ago is that you, by having a large audience and you're face to face with your audience directly, you can interact with them. So what happens is that you have companies that approach the influencer and say, hey, I have this product, just talk about it, and we'll just give you a revenue stream, an income, if you can talk about this product online. However, some people do that, and even if the products really suck, they promote them anyways because they want a payday and they want to get paid. And when you see this, influencers can often scam their own audience, and they promote products that really don't work, and they promote products that really can harm a community. I remember 3 years ago at the hype of the cryptocurrency, so you had all these YouTube influencers from financial channels. They used to promote a new cryptocurrency or a new exchange, and go to this exchange, get this promo code and this and that. Now some people really can make a good living out of it, getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars if they have a lot of eyes on them, and that's good for them. However, do these products really work? Is there an ethical consideration in scamming your audience? Well, I think you really had to put a hand on your conscience and really say, do I really want to scam the audience, and do I really want to do this to them? And I don't think it's appropriate. So this process here, that the underconsumption core, is very similar to the millennial thing of having less stuff. Minimalist movement. There was a minimalist movement, and it was a documentary of this guy that his mom passed away, and he went home and he found all these crap lying around because he had to get rid of it, all of it. And so he's got the idea and said oh my God, we consume so much stuff. We buy things that we don't need. Well, think about it. Since the day you're born to the day you die, you're continuously bombarded by ads. I think it's the nature of the United States. You have the entire apparatus just telling you that you need something. You really don't need much to live. So the minimalist movement, this guy just had a table, a chair, his laptop, skateboard or whatever, very few things, a fork, a knife, I mean, an empty house, basically. You don't have nothing. So they would say that they will consume less and use less and rent. But again, if we go back to it, you will see the globalist agenda when they say you will own nothing and be happy, you know? So what are you going to do? It's many people find ownership of something and they identify with what they own, with what they do. But and most of the time, any upgrade in your career that comes with an increase in your pay, it goes to show an increase in standard of living, therefore displaying the upgrade with what? With financial goods, you know. So I don't know. It's good that they're opening their eyes, especially seeing the influencing trend. One thing that comes to mind about TikTokers, look at the fitness influencers. And I say fitness influencers because I love fitness. And you see all these young kids, 20, 23 years old, that they take SARMs and steroids and, and all that, PEDs, so physical enhancing drugs, and they pander to their audiences by stating that they are these genetic freaks and they just take this product here, the supplement that is going to give you the gains and make you look like me. And if you have young and impressionable people, they will fall for it, and because they still don't have their identity fully developed and they spend a lot of time on TikTok and they have little to no interaction with their parents, or their parents are not there that much, or they don't care, or they're not vigilant enough on what their kids does on a phone, on a screen in front of them the whole time. And therefore these people just fall for it and they just buy the products. But there is something underneath. Look at the example of the Liver King. Like, the Liver King was lying to his people. Like, he had this idea of living the ancestral life where he would just eat organ meats and raw with chicken and work out and sell these powdered organ meats, and he would just tell people that, show basically that he was big shot. But we found it was disclosed that he spent like tens of thousands of dollars per month in PEDs, so he was on steroids, and he was telling his audience that it was all due to his natural abilities and his genetics. And you really need to be careful and be critical. So I really like the influencing trend, and it looks like every generation opens their eyes to a certain point. Now, I'm not saying not to be a minimalist, but if that's something that can improve your life, well, go ahead. But I don't see any reason why you should not own things that you need, at least, but not just try to realize that you need a few. So you don't want your things running you. You want to run your things. You don't want to live to buy stuff. You know what I mean? We have often the idea of being taught that status by buying luxury items, and we have more recognition, but it's really not. What are you made of? What do you have in here? What do you have in here? How you reason, how you talk. And unfortunately, there are still some things we cannot buy. You cannot buy being articulate. You do that only if you talk and if you read books. Not that I'm really articulate. I'm just learning as I go. And you cannot, there's many things you cannot buy. Let's be honest. You cannot buy a good friend. You cannot buy peace of mind, you cannot buy a company, a real person that is there with you and listens to you. So you just want to make sure that you just surround yourself with the things that you value, and not try to put your identity in stuff just to display that you're a big shot to others, or at least try to get things that you only need. But I'm And really, these new generations, Gen Zs, they're really on it, So they might have different things. Looks like every older generation shits on the new ones. You had the boomers shitting on the millennials because you had that they spend money on avocado toast and all that crap, And vice versa. We talk bad about the boomers, and we say that they're selfish and all of that, but I don't know. It's kind of like these generational bickery that goes around from one generation to another one. Oh, that guy had it better. That guy had it better. But I really want to say, I really respect the Gen Zs. They really born in social media, you can say, and but I really hope that they don't try to live their lives as only in like they live in a social media world. So the fact of the de-influencing trend is a good wake-up call, and don't try to be. Don't be a follower. If you're a follower, be a follower for something that tries to improve your life and give something back. Be a follower yourself. So there's this thing that I was reading from a book from the author Maxwell. He wrote a lot of books on leadership. And he says, in order to become a good leader, the first person you need to lead is yourself. If you want to lead others, you need to lead yourself. So make good decisions and be a leader of yourself. Well, that's what I live with you today. So there was this book here. I wanted to leave you every day with one of these quotes here for this book. And let me see. We just read one at a time. This book is called Clarity and Connection. It's not a woo-woo book, but I think he has very good gems of knowledge in it. So all human beings are united by birth, life, death, and every emotion in between. So just keep this in mind and go on and live on your best life. Okay? Leave troubles and worries aside and do the best you can with what you have. You can only go up from here. You guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you find the chance, comment, subscribe, share, the gist, and I'll see you next time.